Festival now. I think of Mardi Gras, the Jazz Fest, and the Crescent City Classic.
At one time, I was 60 pounds overweight and went through a metamorphosis and found that physical activity had a great deal of value to me.
I go shopping a lot. I'm not athletic at all. I never was in high school or college. This is the first attempt.
My position, if you're lying down and you can sit up, sit up. If you can sit up and you can stand, stand. If you're standing and can walk, walk. If you're walking and can jog, jog. If you're jogging and can run, run.
And today, about 22,000 people did walk and run 6.2 miles in the largest race in Louisiana's history. There were two public triumphs that the running world would herald, but there were tens of thousands of personal ones that were no less satisfying. We'll look at both as we look back at the 7th annual Crescent City Classic. Hello again, everybody. I'm Jim Henderson. It's my pleasure to host tonight's look at a festival of fitness and fun that grows more with each passing year. We hope many of you will see yourselves or someone like you in the next half hour. When we return, perhaps you'll see the runner you'd like to be as we introduce you to our champions right after this.
Don't get this Sunday's newspaper for the news, get it for the bag. Popeyes will fill it with a Cajun fried chicken dinner or a bucket special free with required purchase. Look for the bag in this Sunday's newspaper.
We just found out that Booby here drinks the same beer as me, Corky, Sparky, Buck, and Boom Boom. Light beer from Miller. Now, Booby, Buck, and Boom Boom like light because it's got a third less calories than the regular beer and it's less filling, while Corky and Sparky drink it for the great taste. So Boom Boom, Buck, and Booby don't necessarily drink it for the same reason as Sparky and Corky. They all agree that light's the best beer to buy. Isn't that right, Booby?
You bet, Boom Boom.
Right, Buck?
You got it, Corky. What about that, Sparky? You said it, Boog.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
For those who love apple pie, this weekend's special is Dutch apple pie for only $2.19. Mackenzie's starts with only the choicest apples and mixes them with only carefully selected ingredients, then bakes them in their tender, flaky crust. And don't miss the grand opening of another Mackenzie's inside the Marrero Shopping Center on the West Bank Expressway. Free loaf pound cakes with every purchase of $2 or more.
Whenever we cook out at Herb's, I always take my own equipment, like this new gas grill I got at the Great Outdoor Living Sale at West.
This spring, West has a huge selection of gas grills priced right, like Sunbeam Single Burner Gas Grill or this Sunbeam Dual Burner Gas Grill with extra large cooking space. And save on Sunbeam's 30,000 BTU Dual Burner Gas Grill with a full view window, priced right at West.
Dinner ready, Herb? Whoa! Next time I'll bring my own deck. As I buy the best, buy it for less, buy it at West.
The last few moments before the start of a race are a runner's own. Though many will share his experience in the next few minutes, none can share his contemplation of it. It is at this time that a runner asks himself a question that only his performance can truthfully answer. Many ask, can I finish? More ask, can I improve? But only a few of the best in the entire world are allowed to ask, can I win? This is their story. A runner keeps a weather eye out as much or more than any other sportsman. A runner knows his performance will be limited by heat, humidity, and the wind. Today, he would be handicapped by all three. As the 9 o'clock start approached, the temperature stood at 75 degrees, the humidity at 71%, and winds from the south at 18 to 25 miles per hour blew both directly in the runners' faces. Craig Virgin won here in 1980. He's been in most of the 7 Crescent City Classics, and having accumulated that local knowledge, he knew
this year was a race to just sit back, enjoy, and finish it, and drink all the cold water and beer at the finish line that you can, because it wasn't a day to set personal records.
A new personal record for defending champion Mark Nino would have meant a new world record, bettering the one he set here last year. He knew that record was safe from anyone's challenge today, even his own.
You know, just looking at the weather forecast last night, I kind of figured it was going to be hard to run 27:22 today.
A new personal record for Greta Weitz would have meant shattering Wendy Sly's race record of 31:29, set in 1983. She would be running here for the first time, but the weather wasn't in favor of the favorite.
When I wake up, I was looking for the nice, cool tailwind that I heard they have in this race. But I mean, there is nothing you can do about the weather. It's everybody has to run in the same conditions. And for me, I just try not to think too much about it. Just concentrating on my running and try to do well.
Yes, they would all run in the same weather.
Runners, again, please move to your starting areas.
And soon they were. Two eventual winners and approximately 22,000 also-rans were on their way. At the head of the pack, a group of about 20 men was soon defined from the rest. They would set the early pace. Diminishing stamina had not yet separated them, and they ran as one, also by design, each occasionally taking refuge from the headwind in the shelter of the others. The serpentine mass of runners curled around Julia and onto Britannia, where both the conditions and the scenery changed. Between the first and second mile of the 6.2-mile course, Nino made a move to become the race's leader, if only fleetingly.
You could feel like there's a few areas there where the streets are really tree-covered, you know, like a canopy. And the wind, you could just feel the wind die. It was like you're running in a vacuum all of a sudden.
But that vacuum didn't last, and neither did Nino's lead. In the next mile, 3 other runners would take turns as the pace setter. The men's field was a stronger and deeper one than the women's, which shaped up as a battle between Greta Weitz and Wendy Sly. And some 4 minutes behind the men's leader, it was exactly that. No woman had ever run this course faster than the pixie-ish girl named Wendy with the Peter Pan haircut. Her pre-race training had left her very confident of her conditioning and allowed her to formulate a very simple strategy.
Just to run how I feel. I think that's probably always my pre-race strategy. I'm not over-experienced at 10K, and I just like to work the whole way. I feel if I let my concentration go, then I don't usually run as well, so I just work from the gun.
Beside her, Greta Weitz wasn't feeling nearly as well. Her legs were getting heavy.
Wendy and I ran shoulder by shoulder or together for the first, I think it was 5 kilometers. And then I felt that this is not my day, so I just had to slow down a little bit and hope that I could feel better a little bit later and catch her again. But I felt a little bit better after 4 miles and hoped for a short time that I could catch her, but no chance.
Meanwhile, that was a lesson Mark Nino was painfully relearning as well. He had begun to fall behind Michael Musioki, number 2 of Kenya, a 2-time winner here, and number 3, Carlos Lopez of Portugal, the gold medal winner in the marathon this past summer, racing here for the first time.
In a race like this with all these tough people, once you lose touch, I think you're out of it. And so, you know, there's some races where you might be able to drop back for 20, 30 yards and then pick it back up and get back in the race. But when you got guys like Lopes and these guys and the field like Crescent City has, once you lose touch and you're 10, 15 meters off the pace, you're not going to win the race.
And neither he nor Greta Weitz, the pre-race favorites, would. The drama that remained would be played out over the last 2 miles of the course as Musioki and Lopez ran alone. For Musioki, the last mile would determine if he would win for a 3rd time or repeat as the runner-up. His finish fell short of his wishes, but exceeded his expectations.
I came in without knowing whether I would be running that good, but I think I'm very happy with my performance today. And the same team with the Lopez here, and so good today.
Lopez, despite his 38 years, shows no signs of letting age or anyone else catch him from behind. Last week, he was winning the World Cross Country Championships in Lisbon. Today, he was winning the 7th annual Crescent City Classic. Lopez's time of 28:17 was nearly a minute slower than last year's world record. The pride of Portugal speaks no English, but through an interpreter, he said there would be no wild celebration in victory, that winning is always its own reward.
This is the pay he gets for all the years of training, and he doesn't feel it's necessary to party around or celebrate. It's just a joy he has within himself, you know, like, to achieve what he has so hard worked for.
Wendy Sly crossed the finish line in 32:14, 36 seconds in front of Weitz. Both winners had simple explanations for their victories.
We went out together at about 5:1 the first mile, and I think 10:10 or something at the second mile. We were running together, and then I just kind of maintained the same pace and gradually pulled away.
Sometimes he does better, sometimes he does worse, but the ideal is run ahead of everybody else.
And that's what Carlos Lopez and Wendy Sly, quite simply, did. John Jones is the running columnist for the Times-Picayune States item. Carlos Lopez is an amazing man, isn't he?
Well, he really is, Jim. You know, at his age, 38, he's in the prime of life, but he's old as a competitor, and yet what we saw today was a man who is ageless. His speed is not diminished. His desire to win is not diminished, and I think that, more than anything, probably characterizes him as one of the best runners of this era.
Do you think he's the best in the world right now?
I would have to say, based on the last year, really on the last 8 months, the win at in the marathon distance at Los Angeles, which was strength, the win in the World Cross Countries last weekend, which was speed, and then today a combination of strength and speed. I would say, without a doubt in my own mind, he's the #1 runner in the world, all credit due to Carl Lewis aside.
Yeah. How about Mark Nino? Were you surprised he wasn't more of a factor?
Nino is a little bit like Lopez's countryman, Fernando Mamed, in that he has great speed. Sometimes he can be a little unpredictable, but he ran very hard. He was the first American finisher. I believe that when he saw the conditions and he knew it wouldn't be a fast race, he tried to run a tactical race, and he was beaten by 3 better runners, and nothing to his discredit.
Turning our attention to the women for a moment, Joan Benoit, would she have been a factor? Could she have won this race today had she been entered?
You know, the Joan I saw in Los Angeles winning the marathon in August would certainly have been a formidable competition for Wendy. We saw Greta did not run maybe as strongly as she hoped. I think the condition that Joan is in now, I spoke to her last weekend, she's not in top condition, and in that case, she wouldn't have been as much of a factor.
Well, we looked at the elite portion of the field today. When we return, Chris Myers looks at the blue-collar runner.
I train the best gymnast in the world. I expect perfection. And the only beer that comes up to my standards is light beer from Miller. Light scores a perfect 10 because it is less filling. But even better, you can't beat the taste of light. Yeah? Well, let's see how did I do.
Whee! Good. Oh, no. Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Russian judge.
Introducing Sizzler's delicious new broiled shrimp.
Our latest creation.
Oh, that's nice, Chef.
You're gonna love them broiled.
Well, thank you, but...
Because when I broil the shrimp, they're more tender and juicy than ever.
Chef.
Then I serve them with a choice of 3 tasty sauces and a thick sirloin steak.
Sizzler's new steak and broiled shrimp. Now at a shrimp of a price. At the steak, seafood, salad.
Broiled shrimp.
Sizzler.
Hey, one good deal deserves another. Get 8.8% new truck financing from Nissan. Plus,
I'll save over $600 in interest on this, baby.
What are you doing here?
Buying a truck. I couldn't resist a Nissan at this price. And 8.8%.
8.8 is only half the deal. Your Nissan Datsun deal can
also top that deal with a great deal of his own.
How did you know that?
Yes.
Mom? She always did like you, Beth. You got a bicycle. I didn't get anything.
I got everything.
You got a chicken.
When you've got your body going, we've got the shoes. Foot Locker, get it right for your body. All the shoes that fit your body. come to the stripes. Foot Locker, get it right for your body. Get fit by the pros, the expert who knows the shoes that are best
for people who are serious.
Get it right for your body, come to the stripes. Foot Locker, come to the stripes.
Chris Myers joins me now, and Chris, you know, there were two finish lines out there today, one for the first 500 runners and the other one for the rest of the pack, and things were equally as exciting and important there.
It was the first time that they did that, Jim, where they had the two finish lines. So often we report in sports the winners, the losers. This is a different sport, or at least approached that way, and from a different angle. In the early segment of our show, you saw the winners, the world-class runners who ran as often as they walk on a daily basis. Today, I had a good time watching the local crowd who believe that life is too much fun to just run through. In the city that care forgot, good times are remembered by those who challenge themselves in the Crescent City Classic.
I just want a glass of water.
This runner, like these runners, is quenching more than a thirst. It's a need to accomplish. The Crescent City Classic allows non-runners to be runners. Here they use the phrase, it's not whether you win or lose, it's whether you finish the race.
I think mostly it's novice runners coming out for the first time, enjoying it, and experienced runners coming out, getting together and having a good run.
This year's 22,000-plus field brought about a total number of 3 times that, if you include the spectators. There was even a separate finish line used after the first 500 runners crossed. And those who usually would rather horse around, they got the urge to run as well.
This is the first time that I'll be running.
Are you a regular runner?
No, I'm walking, I mean. I'm a walker.
Please keep moving.
This is a race run your own way. Some people stroll through the course, others juggle their way through the runners. I think maybe this guy got the wrong idea, or maybe he was just saving his energy. And these runners, it looks like they hop through the race. What exactly do you do for a living?
You go first.
Well, I wear this at night. I just do it over in Houston.
Oh, okay. So are you a legitimate bunny? Better than being an illegitimate bunny.
Right. Yeah.
Let me ask you about your time. Did you have a good time, or
We
did
had
you?
an excellent time, just a super time. It's a nice race.
I guess their running time wasn't a priority. What is a priority, though, is finishing or seeing someone else you know do so. This year, not only were there more runners, there were more younger runners, and their families kind of lived through their youthful energy.
They really encouraged me, the kids in the neighborhood, and my mom and dad and all my sisters and brothers out here.
All my family's here. They help me train. They take me to the races, pay for my entry fees. They help me a lot.
Restaurateur Joe Impastato was a typical example of father pushing son into the classic, a classic example of a first-timer allowing someone else to have a good time at his expense.
Yeah, that's the first time that I run. It dropped about 70 pounds for the run of this race.
He's been laying off the pasta for a while.
I know, he eats a lot of pasta. That's what makes you run good.
What about your father? Did he kind of egg you on through this, or coach you a little bit to cheer you?
He's the one who started me in running. You know, he said, come on, it's about time to get into it. So I got into it.
How come you don't get him out there to run?
He didn't like the concrete because of his shin splints.
That's a good excuse. There was no excuse not to have a good time, and nobody does it better than the locals, who are delightfully contented with being middle-of-the-pack runners. There was even enough room in the middle-of-the-pack finishers for some Saints football players, but at least they finished. We caught up with a couple of linebackers who tackled a different kind of challenge.
I like to get humbled by letting all the girls and all the guys that are over 50 smoke by me and all the little kids. So no, I just in late March it's a good measurement of how much in shape we really are. And I'm about ready to die. So.
Well, I was going for the record when I first went on. I held the pace for about 30 seconds or so, and then I had to drop off. But I'm just glad I finished it.
Those who run the Classic always come back. Whatever it is, it's in their system. It's healthy, it's happy, it's their moment in the sun. And victory is just crossing the finish line. There's just nothing like that feeling when you cross the finish line, regardless of the actual time. The best times turned in by our area runners are 31:09 by Ian Wilkinson. Ian's an Irish national but calls New Orleans home.
He was a trackman for USL. His time placed him 23rd overall. The top local female runner was Kim Schnerpfeld, a former Stanford student who is now at Tulane's medical school, and she was in at 34.33. That was good enough for the 7th spot overall for the women. The Masters champs, that's the 40-year-old and over group. The winners there for the men, Stephen Lester from New Orleans, 42 years old. He had a time of 33.01. And for the women, Gabriel Anderson-Scheiss, who is from Switzerland. She, you'll remember, had the heat exhaustion experience in the recent Summer Olympics in Los Angeles. And Jim, of the top 500 runners, more than 50%, we don't have exact figures, but more than 50% are not local. The further back in the pack you get, the more local runners having a good time we have.
Yeah, and whether you were local or not, you had a good time during the race and after it, because it's a happening and a celebration as much as it is a race. And Larry Matson looks at that right after this.
Compete anymore, but I still pump iron. So after lifting a few hundred pounds, it's nice to lift one of these. Light beer from Miller. Light tastes great, and it's less filling with a third less calories than the regular beer. Now, you know, bodybuilding is hard work, but having a great body has its advantages. Sure makes it easy to pick up guys. Hi, Rodney.
Oh, hi there. What's going on here? Hey, honey, how about a lift home, huh? Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
If you plan to remodel a kitchen or bath, Tammany Supply has it all, from pipe and fittings to the latest home fashions. Our decorator showrooms have the finest lines available. Tammany Supply displays a wide selection of custom cabinetry by Woodhue and colorful plumbing fixtures and faucets by Kohler, including tub and shower units, whirlpool baths, spas, and saunas. We also offer free professional design consultation, wholesale prices, and quantity discounts. Tammany Supply, 7 miles north of the Causeway in Covington.
Paramount Pictures presents the story of two men who struggled to be king. But only one man can unite the nation. King David, rated PG-13.
Now showing at Robert E. Lee, Eastlake, and Aurora.
Lighten up, 3 Musketeers, take off and lighten up on a soft and puffy, smooth and fluffy cloud of chocolate pleasure. 3 Musketeers, let's lighten up, come on, let's lighten up. You can take a flight with a chocolate bite. 3 Musketeers, so delicious and delightful, a chocolate cloud in every bite. Lighten up, on a chocolate cloud, lighten up.
You know, when Larry Matson plays golf, he sees the entire golf course, not just from tee to green down the middle of the fairway like the pros do. And maybe that's the way it is for some of these world-class runners. And going through the course so quickly, they miss a lot of its beauty and a lot of its character.
There's no question they do miss a lot. And having run a 10K Classic last year, I thought you might be interested in seeing just what the world's best runners miss when they run with 20,000 runners behind them. So this story takes you from the starting point to the party in the park afterwards.
The toughest part for the first-time runner is the waiting. You know you have trained hard, you know you are ready to go the distance, but you want that thing to start. This is what the world-class runners see when they're out in front. Nothing but pavement and fans. Now, this is what I saw last year, and what about 20,000 saw today. A lot of backsides of those ahead. This is Napoleon and Britannia, about the 3.5-mile mark. It was here last year when I ran the Crescent City Classic that I was told that the race was already over. The world-class runners had already crossed the finish line. It was then that I realized they had missed so much. Let me show you exactly what I mean. Live bands, for one, like this one from Grace King High School. And the aid stations. When you're a world-class runner, you don't have time for music or libations. And the signs for loved ones. Or the cooling sprays for those needing a lift. And the sights along the way. I mean, really, do you think the world's best runners saw the Blues Brothers?
We won already. We're back. We did that second lap. All right, Jake, you ready? Wait. You play the boy tunes? Give him a little tune. I I know you didn't know that, so just play out the fire. We're back on the road. All right, we're done. All right, now, okay, let's go.
And there's something else they miss. Now, you might think these people are running a 10K race, but that's not true. They know that there's a party at the end of that run, and everyone knows people from New Orleans love a party. They are all 20,000 strong, running toward that party. Thousands and thousands crowd around Monkey Hill, lining up for a beer, enjoying the food. Families enjoying picnics, both young and old, reminiscing about their 10K run.
It is windy, and it was a little warm, too. But at least the sun wasn't out, so that was in our favor.
This is really the best part of the race, though, isn't it?
This is the tops right here. This is what we're running for.
You gonna run again next year?
Yes.
You gonna party again next year?
Oh, yes, that's the best part.
You gonna run in it next year, maybe, you think?
No.
The party's great. Couldn't have more fun. I'd rather be at the Orpheum watching the New Orleans Symphony, but since I can't be doing that this morning, this is second best.
And, of course, there's those who came just to party. After all, the Crescent City Classic is a social event, even for turtles.
It took me a long time to walk here. I took a bus, which is right over there, and they brought me here, and I'm exhausted because I'm not used to walking this far.
And for the serious runners, like last year's world record setter Mark Nino, the knowledge that I wasn't behind him this year, pushing him to that world mark in '84. Of course, he remembered.
Yeah, well, definitely heard your footsteps with all those people back there, but no, it's a great race. You know, when you get 20,000 people on the road like that, it's incredible to see it, and all the people along the side, too, and it's a tremendous event.
Yes, there's a lot the world-class runners miss when they're not back in the pack. Now, this is the best part of the whole Crescent City Classic. It's the food, the jambalaya, the good times, the party. This is what the world-class runners really miss. They don't get involved with all of this. Now, where's the beer? I'm Larry Matson with the Crescent City Classic.
I'm sure you found the beer eventually.
I did find the beer, and I'd like to say that after all those hours of running and training, something like this makes it all worthwhile.
It was a great day, it really was, and we already look forward to next year's. So another Crescent City Classic has come and gone. We congratulate its winners, but also its participants. If you weren't one this year, perhaps you've been inspired to be one next. You know, our city is famous for its festivals, for its free shows like Mardi Gras. We do a lot for the entertainment of others to make them feel good. The Crescent City Classic may be the best thing we do as a city for ourselves. Thanks for being with us, and good night.
Now stay tuned as George Kennedy and Eli Wallach star in Zigzag, next on Channel 4's Saturday Night Theater.